Hey guys, it's Kyle back again with more Factory Town. Made sure to actually load in for going live for once, so we don't have to sit through the long and lengthy loading cycle. But so we're back again. Fixed all my mistakes from yesterday. I mean, I fixed them on stream, but now I can actually go and start making things again and getting my happiness to go back up. And then with each additional line, each previous line becomes more and more efficient, and we'll get to that point where it just accelerates into the end game, where hopefully have designed everything correctly to hit that super goal of max happiness. I am concerned that my system won't be producing enough fish and that I might need to expand it, but thankfully enough it is very modular, so I should be able to add another line if I have to, but so what we're going to do now is make medical wraps. Medical wraps require 2 cloth, and if I get that cloth from sheep, it also produces 2 fertilizer. So I need to kind of backtrack a little bit and figure out how much heat I need to do this. So remedy requires heat. Jam requires heat. Do I need jam? No, I just need sugar. I need 2 heat to produce an antidote. How many antidotes do I need? I need an enchanter now, if I have them, I have them anywhere. Let's see, I think there should be some over here. No, there's just magical forges. I don't think I have any enchanters anymore. That's crazy to think. It can't be. I've got to have some somewhere. I guess I don't. I'll throw an enchanter down by my base so that I can utilize its recipes. So a health potion just requires. So I need 1 antidote, but I need 4 fertilizer or 4 heat because I need 2 remedies for the health potion, but then I need an antidote and a health potion for the elixir. So I have to take that into consideration. I guess for now I'll set it to make elixirs, even though I won't be getting any input. So, is there any other part of the assembly line that could potentially produce heat? So obviously this is going to take... This will produce 2 heat. And what do spellbooks require leather, don't they? Because yeah, for the book you need leather. But that's still only 3 heat. And I need 4. I know that this system runs on a surplus, but I think it's a surplus of like 0.2 or 0.4 for operation, which I cannot reliably use, unfortunately. So I might need to either make a line simply producing fertilizer, or use magma power. I kind of like the idea of just... Oh, jeez. It's windy outside. I like the idea of just using fertilizer because it's free. Just requires more space. Trying to think if there's any resource that I could potentially use. I mean, I can make 3 cloth and then use one of the wool for heat later down the line. So let's see. Warm coat later will produce... Problem is I need a lot of heat for my general goods as well. But that I probably will just have to expand upwards. So I think I'll build extra cloth right now that I can use, I don't know where. But then I can steal heat from 3 of the sheep and then make the rest. Not. The rest will just hang out for now. I guess it's not gonna work that way because I have to have that system actually running. Hello, Marmy. I see your little wave. Hey guys. Oh gosh. Okay, I think I will have to derive heat from another location. Either by generating it using magic or by stealing it from something else. But it is just, yeah, there is a lot of backlog in this system, which is something to take into consideration. Let me think of, are there other lines later that will produce? I think I can probably steal some fertilizer from this assembly line. If I make it a small trickle, it shouldn't end up mattering too much. That being said, I still have to get it over to where it's needed. I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. The actual bandage line will start producing some fertilizer, and then I can kind of go from there once I've actually made sense of what I'm doing. So the ointment's going to come out of here to enter the medical band line. Before it gets to that point, I need a bandage, which requires 1 cloth. So, but I also need herbs. So the way that I'll probably want to lay this out then is have a farm gathering herbs. That way it doesn't have to travel the ointment doesn't have to travel very far. I need to make my decisions well early, or else I'll have to do what I did last time, which is just rebuild a ton of stuff, and I don't want to do that, so I need to plan out my houses accordingly. I know I need 2 sheep, and each sheep needs a farm, and it can just go up from there. So if I do this, how much space will I have to work with? So my farms will be in line with this, which honestly is okay. Just delete the scaffold a little bit after I've placed my farms. So let's see. That's a corner. So then one farm will be here, and the other farm will be immediately next to it. Then I can just make a little lake. Okay. Place 2 farms down. And there's still plenty of space to work with, so I'm utilizing my footprint efficiently. Honestly, I can leave those there. It's only 2 blocks that it's going to be interrupting. And for the aesthetic, it'll be worth it. So let's plant all this. Oh, it's just the autosave. I'm like, what's going on? Okay. Throw down all the farm tiles. I guess I can unpause the game while I'm working. Tell this to apply water and collect grain. So it'll start watering everything. Now actually plant the grain down. I do have to take into consideration how I get this all set up, because I do know I'll probably be making the antidotes out of this line, but that will take up some space. I guess I do have a lot of room over here, and I can maneuver this ointment line after I've gotten everything laid out, and that way I won't be unnecessarily cutting things off from the location that I plan on putting the general goods stores at. Okay. I'm almost wondering if it is in my best interest to just build a fertilizer farm for the last piece of heat that I need, because it will wildly overproduce, but it's not like I can't design the system in a way that I can use that to meet some shortages in other parts of the line, so it could be worth looking into. But for now, let's get these hooked up with, actually, let me think. Let me look at my other setups, because I might need 6 silos coming out of these rather than 3. This system is doing fine. Well, is it doing fine? Because it's artificially slowed down by other parts of the system, I think. What's the deal with this? Why is my bread not going fast enough? It's going as fast as it can, it looks like. So let's see, it takes 4.5 seconds to produce 1 flour, and I'm using 2 flour. So technically this is working as intended, it's just the slowest part of the assembly line, so it seems messed up. I think. Yeah, because 2 flour, and then producing each flour in the 4-second time frame, so that's okay. I don't remember why. Oh yeah, I came over here to look at my farms. So, the system is technically currently working with 3 silos per grain mill. I think that'll be okay then. And I can just put them on the back. But even if it isn't okay, it won't slow it down by so much that I'll be running into issues with timing. So that's 1, 2, 3. Honestly, why don't, yeah, I should put on the back, not on the sides. Oops, I deleted scaffold. I did not mean to. Okay. Need some grabbers. And some silos. Beautiful. Okay, go up to the next layer. I have to do the math to see if I have to build a water system or if I am fine using just wells directly into the pastures. Because I won't have as much space to work with as well, I have to consider that. Grain mills. Set to make animal feed. Okay, and the next layer. There's something like deeply satisfying about just building like farms vertically like this. I guess because it all just fits together really nicely. And just go straight up. Okay. Since these are pastures, I need to make sure to give them a stone floor. Them's the rules. Animals need a place to put their feet. Okay, 2 pastures. Interestingly enough, my ointment will actually be coming, or entering the system from below here. But I think that'll be okay. I'll just produce cloth and move the cloth where it needs to go accordingly. Alright, so wool and wool. So it takes 2 water in 6 seconds, but how much does it need later? So 12 divided by 16 equals, whoops, I pressed it twice, 0.75. So I should be able to just directly feed it in, I think, from the sides, because that'll be producing 3 water per, no, I'll be producing 6 water per second. Now, let me do that again to make sure. I don't want my animals to run out of water. So 2 divided by 6 is currently 0.3. That's how much I need per second. And if I multiply this number by 16, I need 5 1/3 per second. And I'll be producing 6 per second, so I'm in the clear. I can just slap some wells on the side. And I guess realistically I do have space that I could build another layer to add more wells if I need to go up from there. Honestly, I should just do that. And feed into the top, and it'll look really dumb. Okay, buildings. Well. But it better uses my footprint to do it this way. Okay, so now this will start producing wool and fertilizer, both of which we need to get out of the system. So the fertilizer, honestly, probably just have it come out the sides and move to some sort of storage facility. And I think 2 lines will be enough. Let's see. Because I know if it goes down, it'll be producing 1 every 6 seconds, which we did the math earlier. That's... no. 1 divided by 6 divided by 16 is... okay, so technically it would only need 1 magic conveyor to pull, but if I give it more, then one, produce a natural backlog in the system, which will help deal with fluctuations in stock, but also, more importantly, mean that if I do 2, I don't have to worry about throughput. And on this front, actually, I gotta be careful. I'm gonna put some filters, so that, well, no. Just gotta get into the habit of making my pastures face into each other. I will still have to filter all of these, though, to be wool. So there it is. Filter to wool. Okay. And then... trying to think, is there a more responsible way to build this than the way I'm currently doing? And I think the answer is no, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw down my workshops. Make them make cloth. So each one of these only takes 4 seconds, but obviously the wool is being produced at a slower rate than that. How do I want to deal with my fertilizer storage? Probably just have 2 barns. The other side of the cloth factories. I guess I can put them in line with the fish oil. Okay. That should still give me space to work with, but then also give me a place to move my fertilizer to without requiring packaging it, because I don't think I'll really need to do that. I don't know though. Could be worth packaging. And I don't know, I just like packaging shit in this game, I guess. It does make it much easier to get it from place to place. We'll give it that much. But it also makes it harder to use once it's in that place. Yeah, let's just package it. Okay. So then, what I could actually do is build the packager above the barn. And that way it clears up all this space, and then I can just do some weird shenanigans to get it down to a lower level when necessary. So now we'll finally have a purpose for the side. This still does leave space for more wells. It's not easily attached ones. grabbers, but these ones will be fertilizer. Do I really want to do it this way? Because once I set up the infrastructure this way, it was kind of no going back. And it's a lot of infrastructure for 2 lines. No, I don't think I can do. These aren't fast enough to really warrant it. I guess I still can leave them up on this height. That might be a good idea. I'm kind of building this larger than I need to, but it should be okay. Okay, fertilizer. Alright, now I guess I'll rebuild those barns real quick. Because it should still be able to connect at that height. But before I hook it up, let me figure out what I'm doing with the workshops. Because I need to actually get the product moved around before I cover it, and then substantially increase the difficulty by which I actually design the line. Okay. So now that's not floating. So the workshops, the cloth needs to go in different directions. Mathematically, the 2-line system should be good enough. So, first one of these can go straight into another thing, can't it? Another workshop, because it's just going to be used to make the bandage, and it just needs 1 cloth. Yes. So that makes things a little bit easier. How much of a level difference is this? Okay, this actually works out pretty well. So, I need to have a conveyor coming out of here. Maybe 3. I'll do 3 just because. And they will feed to a packager at some point. Alternatively, they could just feed to a packager right here, I guess. How far do I need this to go? Because it'll go down half of a step for the bandage. Bandage needs to turn into poultice, which takes another thing, but also requires more input. But then it'll be on level. Honestly, I have a better idea. Just put down the packager later, but if I do it this way, I should be able to build 2 lines without any trouble. Okay, there's the scaffold for the 2 lines. I don't even know if I really need to, but it's better to have 2 than to only have 1 and then be a sad boy. Okay. So that's going there. I need to go down half of a level. Alright, so another workshop. This workshop will be making images. And the items will come straight from the other workshop into it. Here, I guess there's no reason to not have this one face that direction, since it will be able to utilize that front port. Now we go down to the lowest level, which is in line with the conveyor right here. This will be set to poultice because it uses the bandage. But it will also need a farm below it that is gathering words, they're hard. Gathering herbs. I don't really have space to put it directly below it, but I should be able to build it in a way that it doesn't run into anything. So let me place down the scaffold for this. Not scaffold, I mean, I guess there's some scaffold. Conveyor system. Okay. So then this uses the bandage and the herbs. Now first let me design this so that I can get my resources into it. I can pipe them in from the back, but that's not really a very accessible side. I can pipe them in from this side, and that should be fine. And then that still gives me space to put down the packager to unpack the ointment, and then I can feed the cloth out of this workshop on top of this and kind of go around. So I think that's a good course of action. I just need to actually build the herb farm. So let me clear out some resources here to give me some space. And kind of count where I need things to be. So I'm planning to build it on the side right here, which means I would need the barn here. You actually have to go up some distance. So I could have this would be where my silos are. So I'd actually have the barn here. Okay, let me line where the barn is going to be, but then I actually have to place my little water first, otherwise I won't be able to fix it. So do that there, and then I did it backwards. I did it completely wrong. Drain block down, drain block up. Okay, so that's the best I can do. Using a 1. Is 1 good enough? Yes, because that's on a 6-second clock, so that's fine. So herbs, water, delete this one. Okay, and place my tiles. Get out here, Waterstone. Okay. So now this will have plenty of herbs to harvest. Honestly, it does not need to be this big, but I'm gonna make it this big so I can deal. Oh, but of course I forgot. I have to build the support system so it looks nice. There we go. Okay. Select recipe, water, herb again. Now plant the herbs. I don't have shared inventory of herbs anywhere. Why? Why are these not? Oh my gosh. I've made a terrible mistake. Because the herbs down here are actually like running at capacity. Okay, so I'm gonna take another farm real quick. Gonna hook it up so that it goes into this barn. Oh my gosh. And then we'll go from there. I guess we'll do that on both sides, because why not? Okay. So that'll create an unnecessary backlog in the system, but more importantly give me resources to work with. You just have to remember to delete it at some point. Okay. It's interesting. I guess the reason these aren't keeping up is because they have to keep applying water, which has more of an impact at lower happiness than it does at higher happiness levels. I'm just terrified that I made like a mathematical error somewhere again. So let's see, I have 2 farms, each feeding into this kitchen, and they can produce 4. 4 herbs in that time frame. It's just the water slows them down. Okay. But they're still getting the job done, which is the important part. Alright. A little bit of panic there, I guess. Okay, so even with these extra farms, it's not really helping the situation too much. I could really go hard and just add more, I guess, but I don't know. Here, I can utilize this one in the process once I actually plant some. Like, that's the thing, is once the infrastructure is fully laid down, I won't need shared inventory for it, but until I hit that point, we're kind of at a standstill. Okay, so let me tentatively... Can I fit a building under this? No, I'd have to make it go next to it. I mean, yes and no, but not the way I need it to be. Okay. So build another barn here, just for the purposes of gathering herbs and having a place to store them. Okay, so that'll help build a shared inventory backlog, which will let me plant more fields, which I'll need to do, so. Okay, so with the additional barns, they're meeting their demand. Looks like. How's the whole fish stock doing? The fish stock is fine, but we are only running at a percentage of what the final speed is going to be, so we have to keep that in mind. I get all of these tiles? It looks like it. Yes, okay. It's like I need to throw... Honestly, it might be worth putting air boosts on these farms, because they're slowing down the system. I mean, once everything's sped up, it shouldn't matter. I don't know, man. Because, like, I have an 8-second window to work with, and they're not getting slowed down that much, I don't think. Part of it is that the amount of time that watering represents compared to the efficacy of the water itself is very low at this point. Until I get more happiness, then ratios work better in my favor. So I think I can ignore it for now. Let me use some silos to get this up to the workshop. Okay, so it's gonna prioritize this barn for now. It's fine, I don't need it to be making poultice yet. Okay, so the medical wraps, I do know that I need to split them. Also thinking about this whole packager setup. There is a unique... No, because it'll break. I'm trying to think if I can use compute blocks to allow me to share a single packager between multiple resources without running the risk of creating a backlog of one type and then not allowing the other type in. And I think the answer is yes, but I think it's not worth it and that I should just build another worker or use another worker to build another packager. So get the endpoint set up because it isn't going to take too much more to get this to where it needs to be. Get all this hooked up. Okay. Oops. There we go. So over yonder, I need a couple of packagers and I need one more workshop. This workshop will make medical wraps. Feeding directly into it will be a package. Come on. Perfect. Can have it feed in on the side. Be interesting to see how the system handles having more output, because this barn should be priority over the output that's sending it to my town. If I've set up my line correctly anyway. Okay, so this will have poultice. Oh yeah, I have to get the other cloth in here as well. I almost forgot about that. That would have been disastrous. So how do I want to deliver that cloth? Let's see, I need space for 2 lines. I can do this. Alright, let me build the input and output first. So 2 packagers. And then I'll know how much space I have to work with. So this one unpacks and this one packs. Need it to have like a full 6 conveyor output, but I will just to maintain throughput because I like hooking things up this way. Okay, so cloth from here needs to leave along this side. And it can probably go over and then down and into the workshop. Some scaffold down just to make it look a little more natural. We can kind of, yeah, go down a little bit preemptively. Down 1 block here. It's at level here. Go down by another block right here. Do I need to be more creative, or can I still hit my endpoint this way? I think I need to go down and then turn. I don't think I can hug the side. Well, let's see. Because it's at block 4, so this will be 3, 2, 1. 1 would work if it was coming in from a straight angle, but it won't be. And I can't use a silo. I could use a barn, but that's probably not worth it. So we'll just have it go down naturally. Goes down 2, turns, goes down the other 2. Okay, and then everything's where it needs to be for the bottom line. Now we just have to build the line above it, and we will have all of the pieces to this puzzle. We will start selling medical wraps, which means we will have more happiness. And more happiness means faster production lines. Okay, so first line, and then I'll build the second one. So I've got time. Okay, be careful not to accidentally cut off the bottom line while building, which is easier said than done a lot of the time. Okay, so here's where it gets to be a little annoying, but it worked out. that scaffold is in place. Now I just have to put the actual conveyor. Alright, throw the last grabber down and we should be in business. And we still have plenty of space to get the fertilizer out of here. But even then I was planning on going up a layer anyway, so... So this is just gonna... Alright, what's the problem here? Oh shit, I forgot. I need to split this between two. The single machine doesn't produce them fast enough. Fuck. Damn it. Okay. We still have to get a little creative then. Totally forgot. Okay, I do think the 6 lines is excessive. I hope I got it, Marmy. I think I can figure it out. I think I just have to rework things a little bit. I think I do have to rely on just 3, and I don't think it's gonna matter anyway. I think it's just being persnickety. Oh, wait. This isn't the only thing I have to feed. I have to feed that as well. Okay, I think there's still a solution for this also, though. That solution... If a 2-line system can feed everything, then I should still be able to... Well, I don't even need a 2-line system here. I can have one going out the front and then one going out the side, and that'll work. Okay, so throw this back here. Throw this one right here, and also tell it to make medical wraps. Okay, then I just have to pull out the side, go up and over everything. Honestly, what I should do even is... whoops. I should have it feed or output from above and then use a splitter. Oh no, because I can't do that. Then I would need to design a two-piece line. So I do need 2 distinct outputs in order to not have that be the case. But hooking it up to and from the packagers is simple enough. Have to actually get it into the facilities. Okay. Okay. So if I unpause the game, both of these should fill up. So the 2 cloth lines. Problem is, I think one cloth line will prioritize one factory over the other, but the only reason it's splitting is because I need to hit that 8-second threshold. So I think if one is prioritized over the other, that shouldn't be a problem in the long run. Just have to actually go down to a level where it can enter the building. Bottom line will feed into the first one, which I think is also the priority line. And the other line will feed into this building. So let's see. Gotta do the scaffold dance. That's the wrong kind of scaffold. Okay, so this needs to be flat because that's flat. Nope, that's the wrong piece. There we go. Okay. The solution proved to be more elegant than feared, which is a good thing. Just have to hook the line up and we are back in business. No, the poultice, I have to hook up that line too. Okay, so that, and then just do a line across. Alright, now we should be in business. Yep, so this is doing its job, this is full. So I need to actually do something with this line. And for now, it'll just copy what the ointment line does. Okay. Eventually I'll need to rework them so they don't suck, but I'll wait till I have everything else built before I do that. So with this complete line, we will have both more red coins entering the system and should see a nice happiness boost as well. Okay. And voila, the just parade of medical wraps. I really want to try to condense these to a single line at some point, but for now it's not worth it. I mean, if we're later down the line, I'll probably just stack them so one line on top is one and the line on the bottom is another. Man, that influx, well, I mean, I guess it was just because it was so many resources coming at once. It created an artificially high boost. Okay, so now we have the tough ones. The potions and the spell books. I think I will build the spellbook line first because it will generate fuel. So I guess what I need to do is make some final decisions about how I want to, where I want to move my manure and what I want to do with it. I guess I did make some final decisions, I just didn't implement them. I should try and go this way, which is unfortunate because of how I built this line, but I can move this, so it's not the end of the world. I don't have to destroy anything. In fact, it'll probably make it easier to work with when everything is said and done. That way this will be on a higher level and also easier to get to where it needs to go. Okay, so I think I will, and then delete these barns. Move this barn. I guess I need to build a destination for it first. Probably build it in line with the packager. Is that high enough? I think so. Normally I wouldn't go this hard on the scaffold for something this high in the air, but I don't know. Feeling it. I like scaffold. What can I say? Okay, so that should work. Move it, make it face a direction, delete what it was standing on. Already had a chunk taken out of it for some reason. Okay, but then, so for this part of the setup, let me build my fertilizer barns on top of the pastures. Moving it without a packager is going to be a curious endeavor, but it is also probably the better way to do it, or more responsible way to do it. Better utilization of workforce. Gotta get that high score, you know? See how few people you can use to make a perfect system. Let's golf score. Okay, so these barns should fill like astronomically quickly, but that's beside the point. So that's still facing that direction. So I will end up building the potions in this area, mostly because this area is unclaimed and isn't going to be in the way of any other future production lines, but I need to now consider I want to go about doing this. So first off, let me look at a patch here. I'm pretty sure leather takes 10 seconds, which means I will need 2 barns, just like I've got going on here. Takes 8 seconds, so I could feasibly... No, I can't, well... I could, I guess, feasibly do this. I would just have to make a larger wheat infrastructure at the bottom. I still have to be smart about how I do this, because it does technically take 3 seconds to produce 1 animal feed. So 8 animal feed, or no, 4 animal feed take 12 seconds, which is far too slow with a single barn. So then, or farm rather, so 2 farms would cut that down to 6 seconds if I'm doing my math correctly. Let's see, I need 16. Why is this suddenly just so hard for me to conceptualize? So 16 would be 8 operations. Well, no, it would be 8. What am I fucking doing? Okay, let me look at this. So 4 and 10 seconds. I do still need to have that's the wrong thing. 4 and 8 seconds. But this would have to, like, always have to be at running at capacity. And that's a dangerous game to play, because if it ever drops like 8 seconds is the absolute slowest something can go to meet the demand. So I think I might build 2, but also have slightly more animal feed, so maybe produce 5 animal feed in 8 seconds. So that's 10 wheat. 10 wheat takes a single farm 15 seconds, so 2 farms would take 7.5 seconds. 3 farms would take, well, I guess 3 farms is what I want to do. I could even do 4 if I want to. Well, no, those are fine now. I don't need 4. 4 is ridiculous. Okay, so how do I want to do this? Probably just in like a straight line, and then leave some space as well. So do this, and this is 1, because I did do a setup of 3 earlier on my food assembly lines. Okay, so this should still work. It gives me space to work over here, so I can produce the spell books in this area and then go this way with them, which gives me a nice little playground to work with for the last assembly line, and then I can redirect these lines so they hug the system better. I think that's probably the best course of action. So place all the farm tiles. As far as water is concerned as well, I need to consider that part, but let me get this going before I break my brain trying to do simple multiplication. Okay, train block up, there, and place my farms. Beautiful. So apply water and collect grain. Okay, so we should see all that get flushed. Now place the grain. I do think, if I remember correctly, well, I mean, I guess yes, at this point, anything I plant is pulling from systems that are keeping my happiness sustained, so I could see a hiccup in happiness as sandwiches don't meet demand for a short period of time. I probably should have thought about that, oh well. Okay, so I remember this setup not being the absolute worst to build. Just need 3 grain mills. No, I need 2 grain mills. Let me have a look. Because this line right here is a pretty... Well, no, where is it? This one right here, milk. Okay, yeah. So it only needs 2 grain mills to do this, and then just go up from there. Delete this workshop at this point. So have all of the grain come in off the back. Yes. Yes. Alright. Whoops. Gotta make sure that that's actually facing the right direction. It feels good to just throw down a row of silos. Okay, so that'll fill up that, which will create a nice backlog as well. And now the grain mills. Borrow one from here and set it to animal feed. And this last one just has to split. Need a bunch of grabbers, but also a splitter. So let me get the splitter first while I'm thinking about it, and then the grabbers are simple enough. Except for when you make them face the wrong direction. Why does this one not have anything in it? I guess it just hasn't been filled yet, probably. Hasn't gotten that far. Alright. And the next layer. Okay, so... making this design... How am I gonna get water to these? I guess I can use the middle as like an output, probably. Then water on the sides, fertilizer out one of the directions. I mean, that's kind of... figure that out when the time comes. And technically I don't need this scaffold here. Okay. That'll fill up, which means those lines will keep running. And we built the animal layer. Oops. How even? Dude, grain mills are some of the hardest facilities to work around. I don't get what the issue is or why it's so uncooperative. There we go. Okay, pasture. Set it to be leather. So this needs 4 water. Let me figure that out. So 4 water in 8 seconds. I guess if I do it around if I do it on a 6-second timer, which is kind of how I'm building everything else, because I don't want to be that close to like my limit, then 4. So 6 seconds would mean that it needs to be divided by 0.75. So I actually need 5 1/3 in a 6-second, or in an 8-second time frame. Or in a 6, no. Yes. Need 5 1/3 in a 6-second time frame. But then you divide that, no, you multiply that by 16. I've done something wrong. water. How do I want to supply water? I think I'll do 6 wells. And then I'll just do them in like corners around the edge, and then if that doesn't prove to be enough, I'll need to build a more sophisticated system, but I think that'll work. It does still give me space to pull things out of the system as well, which is good. Although I don't know if I'll actually need... What did I do here? Don't know if I'll actually need that much. Seriously, what did I... How did I manage that? Okay. Here we go. So now I can place down my wells. Alright, and hook them all up. Helps if your grabbers face the correct direction if you plan on using them. Okay, so this will start producing leather and fertilizer. I have to figure out what I'm going to do with my fertilizer. I guess that could be a... So I've got 2 barns there. I might as well just throw a barn right here to catch the fertilizer from the farms. So I've got this chute area in the middle to work with, and I can hook up 2.5 to, I guess it would be 3 per. It's just they have to share a line. So we'll not necessarily accurate if they fight. Ooh, I messed up. But I caught it quickly. These need to be filtered to be fertilizer, which I forget to do every time. Alright, there we go. So that'll work. So put on fertilizer, build another layer. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a way to use a splitter to force it to share from, like, output. So I couldn't be like, alright, 1 from here, then 1 from here. Could probably do it with compute blocks, but it's not worth it in such a small space. So there's the fertilizer out of here. Now I need to make books. So I have the leather for the books, but I need the paper for the books. I can probably delete these farms at this point, since they're just going to be in my way. I guess I'll hold on to the 1 for now, to keep my stocks up of herbs. So I'm pretty sure I need a lot of wood to do this. Like, so much wood that it might be worth harvesting it in one area and then moving it with minecarts to where it actually gets processed. Let me see, because I had lumber mill, and I need 4. So I need 8 paper. No, I need 8 logs. It might not end up being an issue because a single forester can pump out logs pretty quickly. In theoretically speaking, I could meet demand using 3 lumber mills instead of 4, but I think it's important that I don't bottleneck the book portion of the assembly line, because enchanting them into enchanted books and then into spell books requires a lot of power, and that is kind of hard capped later. You can only scale it up so well, and even then it's like you have to build more enchanters because they literally don't drain power from the crystals fast enough. So I guess then I need to build a workshop to make my books and then decide which direction I want to go with that. So I think I'll build the workshop here, and I can have like kind of use the corners to hook into it from this building, and then do the same thing with the paper, except the paper needs more inputs than that, but I can use 8 inputs for the paper, which should be sufficient. Otherwise I'll have to yeah, 8 should be enough. I don't know why I'm concerned about that. Like, that's a ridiculous amount of paper. Or that's a lot of ports on the side of a building. Do I want to lower this by half of a step? Because then it will be closer to the ground. Let me think. Because I think the answer is yes. This is interesting. I haven't thought about... This is a new problem. Because I guess it's not really a new problem. Never mind. Yes, I'll lower it down half of a layer. No, I can't do that. Because then my pastures, well, no, I won't lower it. I think it's more important to make sure it has the throughput it needs. Workshop, books. How long does it take to make a book, I guess, before I commit to having only one? It takes 5 seconds, okay. So this will work then. This will allow me to have plenty of inputs for my leather. Filter it to leather. Honestly, no, I am lowering it. I've made up my mind, it's going down. 2 ports should be enough. So let me think, that's still like 5 items per second. If I divide that by 16, I guess it comes out to like 5.4 items per second. Divided by 16 is that number, times 8. I don't even know what I'm doing. These numbers don't mean anything to me at this point. I think I'm doing what I need to do correctly though, and that's the only part that matters, so... And put this down. This will make it easier to connect the other stuff to it, which is important. Book. Where is book? Where is book? Turn. Alright, so that's there. Now I need pretty extensive lumber farms. And you gotta be a little careful with them. Let me place down a forester so I can see how quickly that gets the job done. So a forester produces 1 log every 2 seconds. I need 8 logs in 8 seconds. So I can do that with 2 harvesters, or do I go up to 3 just to be safe? Because 2 harvesters produces that amount in the amount of time I need it, but a 3rd one is insurance, so yeah, we'll use 3. One thing to note is foresters have a 5 block range, so they can actually harvest from further away than the farms can. We are gonna see a little bit of overlap with the existing farms as a result. Let me see, I need to clear out some resources. I think it's like that, but then also raise the water a little bit. So now we don't use farm blocks, we use tree planters for these. it's a big old spiral inwards. I am concerned about stacking all of these foresters in one location because trees take a lot longer to grow than other resources, so I do run a pretty big risk of actually going through all of my resources, and that's a problem that's not going to come to a head until way later, once we've built a lot of lines, so it's scary. Because it will be difficult to resolve later than if I plan for it ahead of time. We'll also see a lot, same situation when it comes to making the general goods. A lot of them use wood as well. And that's kind of why I'm building these first, because these are going to be my red coin generators, whereas a lot of my red coin generators are going to have to be turned to blue coins to meet my rule set of only selling the top tier items. Okay, so these trees will be growing. Get these foresters hooked up. How's this doing? Is this still doing its job correctly? It's at fucking -10. How did I build a system so bad? I don't understand why it gets, like, messed up so much. So there are 4 carts in the system currently. I guess I'll just reset it to 4. And I'll figure out why it's broken eventually. Like, I know it has something to do with competing signals, but I can't figure out what it is. Doesn't make any sense to me. Because, like, if you only let one system, or one in at a time, it's fine. Yeah. Weird. Anyway, back to the tree business. These do take so long to grow, that is frightening. To say the least, and I know they don't actually hold that many resources. If I mouse over... Yeah, that's fucking awful. Holy shit. Okay. Well, let's see. If we mouse over these, it seems like the average... The problem is I didn't keep track of how long it takes for a tree to grow. 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. It's like 100 seconds per tree. It's probably 2 minutes. So like 2 minutes per tree to get roughly 10 items. So then I guess what I can do is I can run some calculations of endgame needs and figure out. So a single tree plot produces 5 wood per minute, divided by 60, is that amount per second, times it by, I guess, 6, because that's kind of what I'm running around, so... Man, I really wish I was, like, at a spot where these numbers made sense to me so I could actually figure out what I'm doing with this number. So a single tree plot produces 0.5 logs per 6-second cycle. So then this should be fine. And I'm overreacting. I think the issue... Yeah, I don't know. We'll just build the system and go from there. Like, as even these fill up, we'll see all of these start to get chewed through real fast. Anyway, up to sawmills. Sawmills are going to require water, so I have to deliver water to them, but they're not going to need a ton of it. So, just copying the silos with water instead of, or with wells instead of silos should meet my demand. Right, lumber mills. Okay, paper. And grabbers. Okay, so this won't start doing anything until it gets water. Okay, grab these wells. Bye, Marmy. Have a good sleep. See ya next time. Alright, so now I've got paper. So I have 8 ports I was going to work with. If I do 2 there, and then 2 in the front, that only leaves 3 ports left to pull the books out of. Is that sufficient? Will that work? I think so. That's gonna be oddly shaped. Not like that's the biggest problem, I guess. So I should actually, yeah, okay. Or I could use a barn as an intermediary. It doesn't really solve the problem. I think we need to use 3 per. So then I could use a barn as an intermediary. And then just hook up this lumber mill directly. If I have space to hook everything up into a barn. Looks like I do. It's close, but I think it'll work. Okay. So a barn here with 6 outputs. That will keep things off the front, which will give me as much space as I would like to pull the books from it in a nice organized way. So now I need to hook up the lumber mills. Actually, I can just go straight out of them. I don't know what I'm doing. I guess the real question is, do I need more than 6? Probably not. I think I will just stick with 6 and use the barn as a hookup point so they're not all fighting over the same spot. And there's still plenty of space to scale this up if this ends up not working. Okay, so we'll start producing books now, once I actually put grabbers down. Just a sea of paper floods into the barn, so I'll output as quickly as it can, and now I need to enchant it. And this is where the fun begins. Okay. So, enchanters are a pain in the ass, because they can only do their job so well. To the point where I have 3 output lines from this, and probably as a result we'll use 3 enchanters. Because holy shit. Okay, so I can make them go down a layer, which is preferable to get them lower to the ground. So 1 enchanter, 2 enchanters, 3 enchanters. I want to make sure that the enchanters are not the limiting factor. So they will be making, not magic robes, enchanted books. I think I need to... Oh, I need to put more space between these. That's what I need. They need 2 blocks of space between each one, so that I can get my lines in and out. just build a layer and then build the enchanters that actually enchant them to be protection or fire or whatever the hell it is. And at that point, I might even want to just throw them in a packager. And I can just... Oh, is this inline? Oh, it's not inline. I can make it inline. That sounds fun. It's literally just a straight shot all the way to where I need to be. That's sexy. Okay, so clear that. Paste this down, scoot everything over by 1 block. Say screw you, farm, I'm not going to connect to you, and then don't connect to it. Okay. I can't actually build any scaffold on that one because of the farms that are underneath it. Which gives me added incentive to keep the scaffold between these even though they don't need it. Okay, so each enchanter, oh gosh. Each enchanter will feed into another enchanter. The first level is probably not necessary to meet demand. I don't think I need that many enchanters with just enchanting the regular books, but enchanting them into strength spellbooks I will, because these will just inhale energy. Even at like relatively low happiness levels, you'll hit a point where you'll need a very extensive system to get everything where it needs to be with the amount of energy it needs. They are ridiculous. Okay, so I can just make scaffold out of here to feed books. I only need 1 line per each enchanter, probably. Okay. Line 1. 2, and line 3. So this will start getting books. And once I provide it with power, it will start making things. So, mana crystals. I need to get them here. I also need to figure out how I'm going to recharge them, and that's where it's going to be a little difficult. I want to build a recharging infrastructure before I start making them. So I need to plan. Now, fucking delete. Deleted everything. I'm such a dumbass. Can't look back at anything that I did because I deleted it all. So, one thing to note is that a recharger does not scale with happiness. The only way to make a recharger more efficient is to use Omnistone upgrades. The only real benefit of doing that in this circumstance is that it will reduce the footprint, which is a good thing. You can get more out of a single recharger by making it work faster. In this case, if I spend, I don't know, it's a couple hundred Omnistones, I can get it up to 220% without breaking the bank, and then I will be able to recharge at a faster rate. I guess now is a very important time to test something that I have actually never tested, and that is how much energy is a single mana crystal worth, and I think the answer is 1, but it might be more than that. So let's throw down a water shrine, and preferably put it nearby where water crystals are, aka over here, in this terrible system that still uses coal for fuel. So, throw down a water shrine. A water shrine requires 2 energy and 1 second to produce a bucket of water. So, if I very carefully... my gosh. If I very carefully... Alright, I'm replacing this with a fire shrine. What does a fire shrine take? A fire shrine takes 2 energy and 1 second to make a bucket of lava. So if I divert 1 little crystal, we can figure out if that is enough. Okay, so 1 crystal is worth 2 power because it made 2 buckets. Oh, it looks like it made more than that. A little more. So a single crystal is worth a little over 2 units, it would seem. I guess I can add another crystal in and find out. I can easily control. So it looks like maybe 2 1/4. I guess we can test the theory by adding 2 more crystals. Or I guess no, it'd be 2 1/2 because that's in units of 2 energy. So this should theoretically get me to 5 buckets. No, it gets me to 4 and then very, very, very close to 5. Okay. So a single energy crystal, or single crystal is worth a little over 2. Looks like there's some residual in there, which is weird that it's not using the last bit of it. But that's worth noting because then we can measure how many crystals we need to recharge and how much time. Assuming that I can actually make sense of what the numbers end up being. Since I seem to be having trouble with that. Don't tell me I can't delete this mana connector. Are you kidding? There's nothing there. Okay, hold on. I think I know how to fix this. So, put down a receiver. Go look at the network again. The receiver's not in the same spot. Fucking brilliant. Move the receiver so it's there. Now look at it. Then move it again, except yeah. The mana network is pretty buggy right now. I think I might actually have to use a fire shrine. And then look at the network and say, hey look. Oh no. I've just made it worse. Nope, it's just moving the connection point. It is not. Okay, well, as long as I never build anything there, I guess it won't matter, and I'm sure when I reload it, it'll be fine, but for now, it's just like, what the fuck. Okay, so, if we go back to this whole thing, I need an item in, if I'm trying to make it in a 6-second time frame, I can do the math based off that, but I know my exact count was like 8 seconds. Can do it in a 7.5 second time frame, just to make the math fun, I guess. So if I am running a recharger at 2.2 times speed, so 4 divided by 2.2, it means it would take 1 and I don't know what that number is, but it's 1 repeating seconds to recharge a crystal. So, and a crystal is worth 2.4 power. So then each recharger generates 4.36 repeating energy per second. No. Yes. No. 1 divided by 4 divided by 2.2. Okay, so each recharger actually produces or recharges 0.55 crystals per second. So multiply that by 2.4. So each recharger generates 1.32 energy per second. Okay, now I think we're getting somewhere. How much energy do I actually need? I need 8. So multiply that by 8. And then divide it by... Okay, Okay, so this is where it could all come crumbling down if I can't conceptualize how to convert this into the amount I need in the long run. Am I struggling so hard with this? So 8 generators. Can't figure it out. Why? The math is not this difficult. Why am I struggling? 0.55 crystals per second. How many crystals per second do I need? I'm doing my math in the wrong direction, which is probably why I'm struggling so much. So I need to, if I'm producing things on a 7.5 second clock cycle, then 7.5 divided by 16 is actually, no, 7.5 times 16, no, 1 divided by 7.5 divided by 16 is 2.13 items per second times 8 is 17 energies per second divided by 2.4 equals 7.1 energies per second divided by 0.55 equals 13 recharged energy or 13 boosted rechargers recharging exclusively fire crystals. And then the need for the actual books is half that. So if I do 14 for the fire crystals and 7 for the mana crystals, that will produce enough energy to meet my demands. Now I just have to actually build the rechargers. So let me first finish hooking all this up to its final output, which in this case is just going to be a barn, since that barn is exactly in line with my apothecary. Then I can build my recharge network on top of this. Honestly, because it's so modular, I might even make the network itself modular and just build, rather than having these all try and share the same network, have them each have their own tiny network of mana crystals so that the systems are easier to predict. Okay, this is not efficient in the at all as far as space usage, but also you can't really stack enchanters because you need sky access with them, so I feel okay about that. So now let's build networks. So if I'm gonna do it this way, I need at least 5 upgraded rechargers per enchanter. So I would probably want... How much space am I going to need for that? I can put a receiver here that goes down, I go to a transmitter. Transmitter hooks around, feeds in that way. Okay. So, going up. Okay. So this is where the receiver will be. 1, 2, 3. So I guess it'll have 6 rechargers because that's nice and symmetric, and also will make sure I'm meeting my energy demands. If I use more rechargers, I won't have to use as many Omni Stones. Is that worth it? Probably. Maybe. I don't know. I think I will go to 8, and then I guess this is easy enough to predict. So if I'm building it around 5, which is already more than I need, so 5 times 2.2 is equal to 11. 5 over 2.2 is equal to 11 over x. No. 5 over 2.2 is equal to x over 1.8. So 5 times 1.8 times 1.8 is equal to 9 divided by 2.2. I've done this the wrong direction. Jesus Christ. It's like I didn't go to high school or something. Like, what the fuck? I should just get like a pen and paper or something for doing this stream. So 2.2 efficiency, 5 is equal to 1.8 efficiency. Oh, yeah, I am doing this backwards, which is the problem. Here, let's see, maybe 2.2 over 1.8, 5 over x. 2.2x equals 9. Yeah, no, it's still not gonna work. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say 8's good enough. Okay. And I kind of have to hook these out a little bit farther or else they'll run into the transmitter. So I can very easily just duplicate this design. 2, 3, 4, 5. That is on level, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll want to do it with this as well, but it doesn't have to be as large. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Instead of having 8, it'll have 4 for each of these. And I should have enough Omni Stones to be able to build this network right now. I have 4.6k unless it just decides to delete all of them when I buy an upgrade like it likes to do. I don't know why that happens. I'm assuming it just has... I'm assuming it's a bug revolving around shared inventory and utilizing more than what exists within a single barn. And so it just like searches all of your barns and deletes everything, but I don't know. That's just my hypothesis. Okay. So that's there. Let's build the big ones. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Build the wood scaffold network first. Okay. And now the stone parts, and actually put the receivers down. Or the rechargers, rather. I mean, I can just put all of it down now, I guess. Buildings. Mana receiver. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Mana transmitters. And conveyor belts. These ones, throw these down, they'll need to have splitters along their entirety, which isn't exactly how it needs to be divided, but will help alleviate some line congestion and allow it to properly utilize the system. Alright, now we need the rechargers. Rotate to the other direction. Okay, so now all these need upgrades. They need 2 upgrades each. That keeps things relatively cheap, but still gets the job done. Because now it's only costing 35 Omnistones each instead of 115. You know, just a casual savings of like 2/3 roughly. The problem with doing this rather than building a larger network is that you have to click a lot more. But what the hell else am I going to use these Omnistones for? This is like the only thing they're good for. Just upgrading the things that don't get speed boosts based on happiness, because everything else just gets way too fast to be worth spending Omnistones on. Because I should mention that the Omni upgrades are additive. They don't increase with happiness, so doesn't really do you a lot of good. Okay, pipes, mana pipes. Let's build this network. So, this system is going to be pretty intense. But these are all going to look identical to one another. And I'm all done with it. Okay, so I'll want some splitters on here. Just, again, to alleviate congestion a little bit on the lines. And then basically just copy this setup. It's easy to do. It has a relatively small frame, not too complicated. You'll be able to see all the parts moving. But then I have to actually get crystals into the network, which is the fun part. Okay. So that's all hooked up. Now I'll do the... Oh, almost forgot the splitters. Okay, and now we'll do the regular mana crystal lines. Okay. That should be all good. Trying to think if I have closer locations to get my crystals from, or if I'm gonna have to build some crazy lines to get this done. Alright, last one, and then get to bring the crystals in. That's odd. Why are they not connecting? Like, I get that they aren't. Okay, I'm gonna need to watch that system when it gets hooked up, because I think the wells are interfering, but I haven't had that issue in the past. I have been able to pierce through buildings that aren't able to receive mana. I guess we'll see if it works. It's telling me that it's wells rather than enchanters, so it could be mad at me. I have a sneaking suspicion that those will not perform as intended. But I guess we'll see. Okay. Aha, here's a place I can pull mana crystals from. So we'll get the regular crystals in first. Put some splitters down. Okay, so now crystals will enter the system. We'll wait till it all backs up. Okay, can't even really pull from these because they're not exceeding demand right now, which is crazy to think. Okay, let's keep an eye on the network. Yes, so these crystals are passing straight through, which is a big problem. Okay. Well. I just had to take that opportunity. How do we solve this issue? We can move the wells to the front, which is what we're going to have to do. which is unfortunate because it destroys the symmetry of this build. It was one of its key prime features, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Oh shit, I think someone left the stream after I made that pun. Okay, so now that that's there, hopefully these will update and I won't have to replace the stuff. No, I'm going to have to. I have to replace the mana connectors, but now they should work. Yes, okay. So this has enough mana power, but then it's draining quickly because the system doesn't have a lot in it right now. We just need to wait till we have more crystals in the system so they can back up a bit better. This system's nearly backed up. So at this point, once every system's backed up, then that's kind of where we need to be. Now I need fire crystals. Hey, I've got lots of those. Alright boys, let's roll. Same dealio. Wait till the whole system backs up and then we'll mess with it from there. Here they come. Look at them go. There should be just a metric shit ton of them. Because they have to travel across the whole fucking map to get here. That's pretty good. Okay, so it looks like these these systems are nearly all full. It's good. Don't need to be full, but I do need them to be relatively backed up. I think at this point, this one can probably get unhooked. So this one still needs a little bit in it. Can I put a splitter on? No. I was wondering if I could put a splitter on the actual transmitter itself. That seems to not be a possibility. Okay, I think I have enough fire crystals. Up this line. I think I have too many fire crystals, which is the underlying subtext there. But hopefully they can all fit. Yes. Can always add more if it doesn't work out. Okay. I think we are in the clear. Just get these last two in. Okay. So this system's backed up now. Perfect. So clean up this line. And build my output. Because right now, just got books. Why is this not working? This does not have books. Why does it not have books? This does not have books. Am I not producing enough books? Is that the issue? I think the issue is I am not producing enough books. Yes, that is the issue. Not enough books. Okay. You know, let's throw some Omnistone upgrades on this. Make it go faster. Fuck you, game. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Alright. That being said, I think that's fine. I didn't actually need to do that, but I just wanted to. Out of spite. Okay, let's throw some scaffold down to support this, and hope and pray that this system gets the job done later in life. So, we need to get our spellbook friends up to their home, way up high, where the buffalo roam. Need to do that. Why did I do that? Okay. So, I want to like build my brick wall setup like I had on the other area, so it's like they all go into this cool little factory to get delivered to the town, then I should do it like this. Okay, so that's where things need to make it. Okay, can I draw a straight line? No, the game's not smart enough to figure it out. I mean, I don't blame it. It's not like it's not just crossing the entire universe or anything. Okay, so need a big ramp going up. And thankfully I have a reference point on these lines. Okay. This is the level that I need to meet. That is going to be a long-ass ramp. I think that's a little longer than it needs to be, like maybe right there. But I should probably build down, even though building down sucks, because I would rather not have to rebuild my ramp because I'm wrong. Oh wait, this isn't gonna work, that's the issue. Building down sucks because it's impossible. Because it's fucking literally impossible. Here we go, this will make life easier. Okay, now just clear out the ones we don't need. Oops. Without deleting the brick wall. Or anything behind it, I guess. Okay, it's a nice little step. And we're in business. Beautiful. Throw the actual ramp part onto it and connect it with the other line. Now we don't have to use packager for no reason, even though the other ones are using packagers for no reason. Okay. I guess in their defense, their lines are temporary, whereas this line is a permanent reference point, so it's okay that this one is absurd. Because it will not be deleted, whereas the other ones will be deleted eventually. Books for days. Let's get some grabbers to increase the sea of books. Boom, look at all those books. You're gonna see a massive influx of happiness as the books pour in. Jesus, look at them all. I know that that's artificial, but it is fun to watch. Man, I love packagers. I really want to use a packager instead of this. Look how nice it is. They're in little boxes. They're really cute. Do I do it? Do I just build a packager? Maybe. How am I this backlogged? I think I messed up somewhere. Maybe. You know what? I'm gonna use a packager. I'm so irresponsible. That's an additional 2 workers that are gonna subtract from my final score at the end. But, it'll give me cute little boxes instead. Okay. So, still need the ramp, thankfully, so it's not all for naught. Unpack from crate. Not sure I like this design. Oh no, how did I build it over here? Yeah, I mean, these ones are literally hanging off the edge. Alright, that's fine. This would look really cool if it was backed up, but it's not, so it doesn't look very cool. Okay. got the packager. Let's actually get it all hooked up. And now delete everything that isn't the line in the middle. Oh, I need to put the other packager here to make it work. No, why are things just flowing through it? I mean, I guess it works then if things can just flow through it without consequence. So this one should just let the items pass? Yes, okay, that's kind of cool. I was afraid that the whole system would jam up as a result of that, but nope, it is more sophisticated than this. Oh, there they go, that's all the items. That's all the backlog gone. No, I deleted a bunch of stone. Okay. Obviously, build a little support for where the ramp begins. Ooh, that's the question. Is it the first block that the ramp starts on, or is it the one block over? Why not both? Okay. So, once I clean up all of this, I think I will call it an end for tonight's stream. Made a little bit of progress. I got 2 more assembly lines built. Happiness is increasing as a result, which is very good, which makes everything work better. So now at this point we have 3 out of the 4 apothecary item needs met. So the only thing left to build is unfortunately the most complex of them all, and that is the elixir line, which requires a grand number of potions to all be mixed together using magical power. So I'm pretty sure all of this space in the middle is probably going to end up being used for those purposes. But until next time, thanks for everyone who came out. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I will see you around. Bye-bye.